Combines are still rolling across the state as the corn crop is not in the bin yet, at least not completely. We're going to talk about the crop and some marketing with David Rappa this morning on our Allied Cooperative program. David is the Director of Grain for Allied Cooperative. And David, first of all, from what you're hearing from around the Allied Cooperative locations, the crop coming off, and we're getting close to the end. What's been the harvest numbers you've heard and the yields and things like that?
Well, I'd say as of today, we're probably about 80% combined on corn, 27% of the crop remaining out there, and beans should be pretty much wrapped up at this point. But I'd say overall, corn yields are about average. The growers are seeing the heavy grounds performing way better than the sand ground, which got hurt with the lack of precipitation this summer. And overall on soybean yields, we're seeing probably farm averages off 5 to 10 bushels from last year. Again, a similar situation with corn. The heavy ground performed much better than the light sand ground.
And, of course, Mother Nature, as you said, has the final say there. What about storage? Talk to some farmers and say, well, I'm going to leave it here. I don't have storage, and the elevator says they can't take it right now. Is that some of the reason about 20% of that corn is still out there? What kind of situation are you guys in at Allied?
We try to be proactive and try to see what the size of the crop is and try to make room for all our patrons. It's amazing, we get to the tail end of harvest every year and you're anticipating crop size and these hybrids perform better than we anticipated, and it becomes a logistical constraint where, the combines can take it off a lot faster than we can ship it out to keep making room. So when you get down to the tail end of harvest, wet bins get full and dryers only can dry so fast. So there's tend to be delayed a little bit, but we're doing everything we can to get this crop off, and I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks we should be pretty much wrapped up on corn.
What are you seeing at this point in time as far as moisture? We heard, farmers say it's just too wet. Is it still over 20%?
It's all over the map. We have some corn that's actually coming off dry right now. A couple weeks ago, that corn was about 18 to 19% of moisture. And we got corn coming off that's still over 20%, and a couple of weeks ago that was like 30%. We were really blessed with that warm week in November there. We've seen moistures drop off the field anywhere from 5 to 7 points on some fields. It actually helped the elevators out too, because drying corn over 20%, it really cuts down on the speed of the dryers, and our wet bins fill up, and then we have to stop taking corn for the day.
Well, that's for sure. That warm weather last week helped out. David, tell us about the indicators you look at, of course, as you store it and you market this grain to hopefully get maximum return for your co-op members. What are some of the indicators you're looking at, and how do you see those playing out right about now?
You can either make a price or take a price. In the last couple of years, it's been better to just put it in the bin and take what the market gives you and price off the cash market. We trade fundamentals, and, if you look at what the USDA is telling us for carryout, it's about 800 million more bushels this year at the end of the marketing year than we had the previous year. With our growers, we're trying to tell them to, the market's paying us to store the crop right now. So basically selling futures separate from basis is always a good strategy when we're in a carry environment.
And you expect that to be the way it is, because we haven't had many announcements of any big export sales, so that storage number is going to still be big for the future, it looks like, at least the near future, right?
Yeah, if you look at the USDA's supply and demand recap, they still have a healthy export program in there, and, we're forecasted to carry out 2.156 billion bushels of corn going into next harvest. So that's a substantial number, and it's completely different marketing conditions than we've had, the past 2 years, where we had carryouts that were much thinner, around 1.36 billion bushels. It's just a different marketing environment, and they got to think about it a little differently. I think any corn sale with a 5 in front of it is going to be spectacular this year. So.
I think so too, and there probably won't be many of those. We'll wait and see. David, thanks for the update, and have a good Thanksgiving.
Yep, you too.
All right, there goes David Rappa, Director of Grain with Allied Cooperative on our Allied Cooperative program. I'm Bob Bosold.